Hey there, it's Marvin Dejon coming back to you with the Backyard Vlog. Today, in the screenwriting portion of the vlog, we're going to discuss my process for creating characters by discussing a new character I'm creating. Then we're going to discuss filmmaking by discussing the process of pre-production for my next project, No Plus One. And then finally, in the food for thought, it's time that I got real about Lover's Revenge. You ready? Let's get into it. So there are 6 points I use when I create a character. There are tons of points you can use. There are different ways you can set up your character. There's some places that have like hundreds of questions you can ask yourself. But I boiled all that stuff down into 6 key points that I use. So the first things first is their name. Sometimes the character comes to me with a name, and sometimes I go through baby name books and, things that come across my desk at work, to kind of come up with the name. Their name is important because sometimes it can speak to the theme of their character and kind of their essence. So sometimes I will pick a specific name just because I want them to have that certain trait that that name embodies. And so then once I've given them a name, I move towards their age, zodiac, and MBTI. So what is their age range for? So the age range, I give them a specific age like 27. But I also kind of give them an age range because that also kind of determines the generation they grew up in. Whether they're millennial, Gen Z, Gen X, boomer, whatever. It speaks to that, and that's part of your character. Then I go into the zodiac. In the zodiac, that's your Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. Oh, those are literally, the 12 zodiac signs that, we all go through. Some of us are pure zodiacs like Libra. Some of us are on the cusp like me, Libra, Scorpio. And so those things are generalizations. Then there's the MBTI. The MBTI is basically that personality test you take before you, when you apply for a job, really. I'm an INFJ, if that makes any sense. But all of these things are really touchstones that you can pull from to make your character a little bit more original and a little bit more in depth. From there, I then give them their goal. So actors are taught you have a goal in everything you do, every scene you're in, you have a goal that you have to get this thing. I, as a writer, I create that goal. And so when I create that goal, I also put in there why they want this and what happens if they fail. Why? Because their why is part of what's pushing them on the goal. And it sometimes tells me what they truly need. And that's really the thing that you want them to get through this story. And then if they fail, that's if I want to go with a down ending, I can, figure out what they'll do if things don't go their certain way. And all of that then leads me to backstory. Now, the backstory of a character, some people like, that doesn't matter. Let the actors create that. And yes, you can let the actors create that. However, I like to create it because a lot of what has happened in our past inform our present and dictate our future because we don't heal from those past traumas. Everybody hears about childhood trauma. It's very real. It's very serious. And it informs a lot of the decisions adults make. And so you really need to go into that trauma that they went through and understand how that made them who they are when they get to this story. Once you've done all that, then I go through and I arc their story in a summary form just to see, okay, is this character important? What do they learn? How do they learn it? And is this something that the audience can take with them? And I do this for all of the lead characters and some of the main support characters. Tertiary characters, I really don't go that deep on, but I have a specific set of rules for them as well. And so, and they're kind of similar to this. It's kind of like, what is their purpose in the story, and what are they here to do, and what's their goal? But those are really kind of the touchstones on how I've been working on creating Orion Hendricks. Orion is a new character that I'm working on. He's kind of a character that I want some longevity out of, so I'm going very deep on his backstory and kind of giving some deeper insights on what I want to see him do. And it's all kind of dictated by the genre that he's going to be in, which I'll tell you about on the next Third Friday blog. The production process of No Plus One should be simple since it's already done, right? Wrong. I rewrote that thing from top to bottom. But because my process is so specific, when I do a project, I start pre-production in the outline of the script. So when I restarted the script, I re-outlined it. And so I went through and I outlined everything from the description of the scene to the scene headings, the props, the wardrobe, everything. Now, I don't do this all at once. That's insane. I would never do that all at once. But it's all there. And so after I've determined what's happening in the scenes, then I go in and I determine wardrobe, characters, and so on and so forth, so that when I'm ready for true pre-production, I just pull out the description and I already have my pre-production spreadsheet ready to go. So I am just past that phase of it. I am now in the phase of paring down the script. So why do I go right into the paring down? Is because I'm matching the script to the spreadsheet, making sure that the interior day, interior night, so on and so forth, is matching up to the actual scene number in the script. As I'm doing that, I'm paring it down. I'm saying, okay, take off the writer hat where you wanted, fluffy unicorns and explosions. Now put on the producer hat where I can actually say, no, motherfucker, we're not doing that because we ain't got the budget for it. And so as I've got my producer hat on and I'm, lining up the spreadsheet with this thing, I'm paring down the script to its finest tuned point that I can produce. And so as I'm doing that, I am fine tuning the script. I'm doing yet another rewrite pass and it's tightening it up. So now that I am officially done with that, I am ready to read the script. Now, mind you, I've already read it with the lead, Alexandria Warfield Smith, and I had, Wes Frazier come through. He gave me notes and so on and so forth as we read it. And so we've read it together. We've done that. I've gone back, done some rewrites, done the paring down. So now I'm in the process of sourcing actors to do an official read-through. Now, I got this idea from Alexandria's husband, Dominique Smith. He did a read-through for his script where he brought in other producers and he had a bunch of actors read the script that he had done. And so in reading the script, I'm sitting up thinking, this is a great idea. I'm totally stealing this from him for my own projects. And thus here we are. And I want to pull together several actors to read the script, what I feel is it's close to final phase, because of course I'm going to rewrite it again. But I want them to read it, and that's going to help me cast. But as luck would have it, and I'm in this process of thinking, who am I going to reach out to? What am I going to do? Kagan Alexander Black of Al Black Films hit me up and asked me to come be a guest speaker at his event, In My Bag. In My Bag, I feel, is probably one of the best and most unique spaces in the city because In My Bag allows actors to come and act. It's like an open mic night for actors where they come and they can do a monologue or a skit or whatever, that's laid on their heart to truly show their skills. And I think that's beautiful for producers like myself who don't really want to do the whole audition thing. I don't want to sit there and watch 500 different people. I got too much of a bleeding heart. Like, I want to cast you and you and you. I can't cast them all. I like to be specific. So I'll find my people. And so I feel like this event is a place where producers can do that and where actors can truly showcase themselves in their best light because you get to choose the monologue. You don't have to do a cold read from the script because not everybody's good at cold reading. And so this is a beautiful thing to do that at. So I'll put some more information in the description, but definitely come check out In My Bag, whether I'm the guest speaker or not, because it is a good event and I will most of the time be there because I'm always looking for new talent. So in today's food for thought, it's time for me to get real about Lover's Revenge. Now, mind you, this is not to be messy. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not like, so-and-so did this to me and so-and-so did that to me. No. These are the lessons that I learned from Lover's Revenge. And so, in those lessons, I'm going to give you a twofer. 2 food for thoughts for the price of 1. Number 1, don't do anything you don't want to do. Lover's Revenge started out as just a little 5-minute short film that I had pulled out from a bigger feature film that I had written over 10 years ago, from an idea I came up with over 15 years ago, which was I'm pregnant. Who are you pregnant by? I can't have kids. So it was wholly different before we got to the vasectomy piece. But ultimately, that's kind of how it landed. It's like, I had a vasectomy. So how are you pregnant by me? So that literal scene was in a short film. And Alex wanted to do it for her channel, also on YouTube, Alexandria in Warfield, check her out. So I just kind of moved it out of the longer film, put it in this little short and said, here, take it, do what you want to. I'd given that to her months earlier, and she was finally like, while we were in the middle of production of Ambition, which turned out to be Cruel Ambition, she was like, hey, you know, we got Friday free. I've asked Draper, can we come shoot? I was like, sure, why not? Let's do it. So we did it. I'm like, I'm always down for more camera work. Let's get to work. So we get to work. We do it. It's a great night of filming. It's just an atmosphere and an energy that just still to this day unspeakable. And literally the following week she puts it out and Draper does a small TikTok on his TikTok channel and it goes viral. And so here's the part where I say, don't do what you don't want to do. Now, if I had been in my right mind as a creative, I would have said, we've done the short film, that's all there is to it. But I was like jazzed and geeked up about, oh, these viral people are watching. This is my shot. And I went against all my creative, you know, mindsets of being prepared. And so in that, I rushed the series. And so when we got the opportunity to get distribution for the film, Alex and I were like, let's redo these parts. So we ended up redoing the whole damn thing because some people couldn't come back. So when we did it again, it was still rushed. And I'm just like, what the entire fuck? And I hated the process, and I'm pretty sure I was the biggest dick on the planet throughout it. And my apologies to any cast and crew members who had to deal with that Marvin, and especially the jail incident. But don't do things you don't want to do, because it ends up, not necessarily the project's bad, but I feel like the energy that I love to bring, which is a good, positive, fun energy, wasn't there during production of the film because I was angry literally the whole time because I felt unprepared and I felt rushed. And so anytime I feel unprepared and rushed, what I've learned through that process is I'm not going to do it. Because I'm not going to be unprepared, I'm not going to be rushing, I'm not going to bring a negative energy to the project. So what I'm going to do is just say, I can't do this. Which is what I should have done, but I didn't do. And so for me now, I understand I'm not going to do what I don't want to do. And what I don't want to do is be rushed, so I'm not going to do that. The second part of this is don't run. So what does that have to do with Lover's Revenge? Well, once the feature film was out, we found out that there was a slate that just stuck for like a minute. Now, mind you, I would never have exported that and damn sure wouldn't have sent it to a distributor like that. But what had happened was, I originally sent them a version of the project. They kicked it back to me and said, hey, this is wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. Went in, created, fixed those things that they told me about, got it off to them, they said good. We were all golden. We were not golden. That issue didn't come up until the second export. So when we called the distributor the day of, like, hey, what's going on? That's not right. They were like, okay, well, we'll just switch back to the first. Well, the first one really did have problems as well, which is why that one scene had every other scene. It was sticking. Why? Because we needed a whole new export, which I had to do. And so after that debacle, I ran. I literally logged off of all socials. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I don't want to face the music. I don't want nobody asking me questions. I don't want nobody laughing about this shit. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. And I wasn't necessarily embarrassed. I just run from things that overstimulate me. And the onslaught of things that were coming at me were just like, oh, this is new. I'm not social media guy. I'm literally, I make a post every now and then. I post about business and that's it. Well, this was a lot for me, so I ran. And I still am not fully back on social media right now. And so I tell anybody, don't run, because I'm now having to force myself to get back in because I'm still in flight mode. I'm not in fight mode. I'm in flight mode. And so I want to implore anybody to just stand in it. Because that's what I'm learning to do, is to stand in it. To stand in your truth. To stand next to the mistake. Because I'm not saying that Lover's Revenge itself was a mistake. I'm just saying that I have to be okay that I felt unprepared, rushed, and that it's not the best project that I would have wanted it to be. But it's still my project. I still love it. And it's still good, and it's still great enough to watch. Clearly it got distribution now, didn't it? Now, let's not talk about some of them other Tubi movies. But, come on, it ain't no, as low as some. Let's just be real. So if I can impart anything to anyone when it comes to my trials and tribulations with Lover's Revenge, is to stand in your truth and don't be afraid of it, so don't run. And to don't let anybody push you past your principles. Say it's okay to say, I'm not going to do that. And that's just what it is. Well, that's it. That's all I got. So first Fridays are going to be a little bit different than third Fridays. Third Fridays I'll come to you more like this, where I kind of have topics about screenwriting, filmmaking and life stuff. But starting on September 1st, I'm going to switch up what I do for the vlogs, and I'm not going to tell you what that is. You just got to find out on September 1st. Until then, make it a great